store for tonight.
Cool. Well, mid-show, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 10 with Dio.
Nice. Ah,
Little intro in the middle. No worries.
that's awesome.
So you heard Dio's topics. My topic is all about Dio because it's a one-on-one with Dio. So,
Hey.
some of you guys might not know, but Dio was, okay, now, I'm going to say two things. Don't get offended by the first thing. Was an amateur / professional wrestler in his time. So, my topic is all about your wrestling career and how that was.
Ooh. Oh, wow. So my wrestling career, as with almost every guy that's a fan, usually starts when you're young. I actually, let's see. So everyone starts on their bed, and then we transition to trampoline or backyard.
Mhm.
Ours was pretty cool because I had a good mix of friends who were pretty. Well, I had one guy who was really diehard on making it his dream to come true, and in his pursuit of fulfilling that dream, I actually helped him learn some amateur wrestling stuff throughout, junior high, high school. As I learned more about mat wrestling, and the PE teachers were cool enough to let us kind of like practice and train because there was a local wrestling company that was always looking for talent during summer. I had two buddies who were kind of on and off with a not really a mentorship, but like a assistants in training. So they were kind of like the dummies.
Mm.
So when people wanted to learn how to chop or do stuff more than just chop, but because a lot of times they talk about how many chop gauntlets that they would have to go through just to get inside the ring. So it's like, all right, so I'd have to say unofficially training with these guys who had actual training experience. I probably started around 15. So actually, being able to learn how to take bumps and stuff. Granted, this was unofficial, so we were doing bumps on like regular like high school mat wrestling mats.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, when you meet wrestling mats and cement underneath it, it's not fun. It's not fun. But I had a buddy of mine who would always invite us, or whenever we had like a really big pay-per-view. One and only Brian Cage. He would actually, hey man, we're doing this thing. Do some backyard wrestling. I'm like, all right, backyard wrestling, that's cool. We go to his couple of spots. We go to like his grandma's spot, and we actually had like a trampoline with some. We don't really call it padding, but it wasn't hard either.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who wanted to like take body slams and suplexes, we usually held like I don't know, things like a 15 to 30, maybe 45-minute like semi-training session, as we were all not even amateurs then. We're just kind of going through what we learned and how to make it smooth, and have matches, film them back when video cassettes were the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say we probably did that on and off for a few years until we were about, I think my freshman year in college. My buddy Brian Cage was like, hey man, we're doing this thing. We're gonna do some wrestling. Like, oh, legit wrestling. Like, yeah, we saved up some money. And right around that time, I'd say I was like 19, maybe about 20, is when I actually started to do more unofficial wrestling. As we had a ring, but we didn't have like a trainer. We were doing a lot of things that Brian had learned on his own, and some of the things that my buddy Chico Lopez, who's a current wrestler for small fed in California, PCW. Shout outs to Chico Lopez. And then we had a guy who was our main high flyer. He was the guy that can do 450s, springboard, moonsault, and stuff. He's a tall dude, like 6'2", probably weighed like 5 pounds. Dustin Chains. Those are the two guys that kind of learned how to do the official, unofficial training with, like, I guess, like those PCW before they were bigger, I guess. And yeah, I mean, they were kind of our unofficial trainers, but Brian was kind of our lead guy. We came up with the company, not really a company, but it's our now defunct federation, MWF, Main Event Wrestling Federation. So whenever you see my name, MWFDO, that's what it stands for. And so I'd say about 19 years old, 19, 20 is when I actually started taking bumps on an actual 16 by 16 plywood ring. It was a work in progress, as some of our shows, things had to get ordered separately, like our turnbuckles and stuff, our canvases. We actually had a few matches where we wrestled literally just on the boards.
Ew.
It was covered. It was covered by like a I'd say, like, not really like a big old tarp, but something along the lines of maybe a giant tarp.
Mm-hmm.
And man, let me tell you, when you first take wood bumps, and you take back bumps and heel bumps and second rope bumps on turnbuckles that aren't there, because we had to kind of ghetto rig it a little bit.
Yeah.
Dude, nothing beats that, and 98-degree sun cooking you, for a few hours, just learning how to take bumps. So every time we would wrestle or take a bump, we would knock ourselves out. So I want to say we were heavy. Let's say about 3.5 to about 4, maybe let's say about 4.5 months. Then we actually started getting like a crowd. There was, let's see, our Fed was Cage, Draven, Chains, Crazy Captain. We had Dredge, myself, and Iron Weaver, Prez Easy Funk, tons of fun. Is that the rain?
That was the thunder returning.
I believe that was our original 9 cast. Well, we had Joey, then Joey Scales came. Then we included Brett Kilburn, Explicit, Jim Grady, and we had Ref Nalbone, and our commish, who was Mr. Dean Dick Bickley, also Ref Robertson. Then we actually had a couple female wrestlers, but I think they just they got their personal life was a little, was more. I'm not gonna front on them. It was more important to them. So then we had Omega, and then we did a couple collab match shows with PCW, and then yeah. Okay, so I want to say that we started with about 9 or 10 of us, and it basically was just, I want to say like the summer of, let's see, so I graduated, here's some math for you, 2003, graduated in 2003, about 2005 to about 2006, that's when we were kind of like hardcore in the training. So most of our matches were really just kind of like dark matches, nothing really, I want to say like practice, but nothing really run through as far as making it look smooth and stuff. So a lot of our matches are really choppy, and trying to understand and learn how to tell a story without telling a story. Without having to say, hey, this is where you're supposed to go for this, and then but it's more so, let's make it look WWE style, where it's 5 to maybe 9 minutes tops. Some quick action, some big, some loud sounds, maybe a stolen victory here or a clean finish there, but let's not make it too drawn out, like Ring of Honor or TNA sometimes can be a little, at least back then they were a little more time consuming. Some of their matches were like 10 or 15 minutes long, and like that's, we're just starting out. We really shouldn't be trying to become. Everyone shouldn't be trying to become like ring generals and stuff. So,
Right.
I want to say about time frames. I mean, I could be on and off. I could be off on there, but I want to say about when I was about 20. So that would be 2005. That's when we had Second and Warner, which was basically our home base show. There was a spot in Chico, California, where we were the corner house on a busy, college-heavy population. So there are times where, we're just practicing and stuff, and people say, "Hey, when's the show?
Nice.
You guys want a show? We'll have a show in about 45 minutes." So so a lot of times we just kind of cater to like when people will stop by and say, "Hey, we guys see you guys kind of like doing the wrestling thing. Like, is that like legit? Like, does that stuff like for real?" I'm like, "Hey man, we're not out here, busting our tails for nothing. I mean, we love to do it because yeah, it's fun, but ultimately it's a way for us to get experience. And if somehow, Lady Luck smiles on us, one of us gets out of here." And big shout outs to Brian Cage and everything that he's done. He's kind of like the main guy. I mean, he was basically the main promoter. He got us on the local radio, just to kind of talk about some of the shows that we had. Majority of them were there on Second and Warner. We had some at a place called Off the Wall Soccer, which was like an indoor soccer stadium for Chico. We did a couple of, I think back when they had that Hurricane Katrina, we had the Rumble for Relief. That one's actually a very special like day, like in my heart, and a lot of our guys' holds like a really special memory and stuff. So I would say, getting back on track, I would say we practiced and we were training for about a year or so. Our shows became a lot more smoother. Crowds, they would gather in and out depending on the weather. I mean, Chico's a hot place. We were outside, so we were backyard wrestlers who were wrestling in the backyard. So we had a ring, 16 by 16, I believe that was the measurement, and I want to say like it stood maybe. It was actually kind of tall, to be honest. I think it was like. Let's see. I'm trying to kind of guesstimate. I want to say that thing was like the frame of the ring was. I would say it's probably like a solid, like, you and I have the same computer desk, so this gives you a really good visual. It's actually probably like a good probably like 8 inches taller than the desk, so it was pretty tall.
Yeah.
So if you got dumped outside the ring, like you took a nasty fall. And yeah, I mean, like from setting it up to tearing it down, I mean, that was our thing. After we got off of work, if we got off early enough, we tried to schedule when everyone was off so that we wouldn't be like, summertime wouldn't be like extremely hot, because there were some training sessions, man, it was just so bad. Like, I kid you not, like we literally cooked ourselves out there. It was so bad. Like after the canvas gets hot, because our colors were red and black, and the inside of the ring was red. Dude, let me tell you, if you ever get slammed on hot canvas, and you feel, and then as you're trying to get up, like you literally feel your skin just like cooking on the canvas. It's terrible. But you know what? It's bumps and bruises, And at that point, we were ready to do more consistent shows. Our shows went from I want to say like every weekend to every other weekend, depending on who can make it, because the work schedules made things very difficult. A lot of times, we didn't ask for donations, but people donated, so that actually went towards like keeping the ring going. I donated some of my paychecks for tools, a little bit of transportation. We did having to take it to the stadiums and stuff. You had to pay insurances for just for that event, because you never know if it's gonna be $100, $200, $1,000. It depends on the venue and how long you're gonna rent it out for. And then if we had like memorabilia, T-shirts and stuff, which we did, we had DVDs and stuff. But that came as our shows kind of got a little bit bigger. Um, our average crowd started out between like 15 to 30, which is that's a regular block party. That's cool. Um, as it kind of got later in the year and school started coming in, it grew from like 50 to like 75, like on an average weekend basis.
Nice.
And then when it really cranked up, I mean, we usually have like the whole block. Dude. Like it was crazy. Like it was a good couple of summers where we had Chico Police kind of called out on us.
Jeez.
But they ended up like watching the shows and stuff, so they just kind of provided like a sense of security there.
That's cool.
So I mean, like just to see the growth go from like 15 to 50 people to like 100 to like 200 or 300 people, it's like holy crap.
Yeah.
And that was like within, I want to say that was within like the whole time frame of us starting to really seriously train like late 2004, early 2005, to say about mid 2006, early 2007. So after how we dealt with some of the training sessions once we went from the backyard, we actually relocated to do our normal shows in a Veterans Memorial Hall. We had a buddy of ours who was a vet. He is a vet, and he's still alive and stuff. But he pulled his connections to let us use basically that building for free. And normally we charge people like $5. $5 is not too bad, right? And then we sell T-shirts and stuff. And basically most of that funds went to, of course, making sure that we able to get the ring back and forth. And then I believe we used it too to give some money back to the vets, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So after we were doing our training, like in 2006, we were outside. Mr. Brian Cage was like, "Hey, is one of his phrases that he's using nowadays. Who better? There's only one person that says that, and it's someone that we all looked up to. That he was a very unorthodox style of wrestler. He was he was awesome. Innovative offense. Chris Kanyon, one of Brian's favoriteest wrestlers. I mean, he's in my top 5. And kind of got contacted him to do a show for Rumble for Really, the first one. And yeah, I'm gonna have like flashbacks now. But Cage basically, he reached out to Kanyon, I guess like a long time ago, and backstory to that is while Cage was in high school, he went out to a show where Chris Kanyon pointed out to Cage at a taping of, I don't recall if it was WCW was still around, no, I think it was WWE, and I think it was a Sacramento show, and I think somehow Cage was able to kind of get by like security, and I guess he talked to Kanyon when he was still in high school or so, saying, "Hey, if I got something going, would you be down to wrestle?" And made it a big story as far as when Kanyon was pulling his mic segment from Death from Above. Oh my gosh, I'm not Death from Above. The Grand Canyon Encounter. It basically made Cage look like some little punk kid. And he was like, "Yeah, some kid's hero wrote me this letter to say, hey, I want to be just like you're my hero." And Kanyon just basically slaps Cage in the face, and it's like, oh man, talk about like promo and storytelling, man. It was amazing. Um, and at that time, I was, becoming more serious about, hey, man, maybe I can do this thing with Cage. I mean, I was already in the midst of like I've dropped weight to just be in better shape. I was actually kind of built like I'm not going to compare myself to him. I think he's an awesome wrestler, but a lot of people were that were like real good on the indie feds were like, hey, you look kind of like you have like a Samoa Joe kind of build. Back when Samoa Joe was like Samoa Joe's going to kill you,
Yeah.
Samoa Joe. And I was like, hey, that's pretty cool because I was always hoping to have more of like a Taz build, and I was kind of reaching the weight and the thickness status, but I kind of tweaked my back. That was kind of like my storyline from there was that when I actually tweaked my back at work, I was kind of more so making sure that people who needed to wrestle or whatever that wanted to wrestle, they were consistently showing up for training. Because if you didn't train, it just looks bad on you that you just want to go and wrestle,
Yeah.
But I myself, I mean, after the Grand Canyon encounter, I wrestled for like I want to say about a solid in front of a crowd, paying crowd. I'd say like a solid like 2.5 years. It was definitely a solid experience. I mean, I took like speech classes just to become a better speaker in front of people, boost my confidence. I think 3 out of the 5 like tests or things that we had to do for speech class was wrestling related. So it was just like I basically cut a promo as far as like who I am compared to these students, and it's definitely like it definitely is like if you ever felt like you wanted to do like the whole wrestling thing, or if you're a fan of anime or video games and you've been to conventions and stuff and you see all these people that do the cosplay, it's exactly like that. You become that character, and it's just like me, I was just the guy that liked to punch people in the face, and it was just kind of like the raw intensity, just my facial features, just the way I looked at you, like every little thing that you really didn't think about until you saw yourself. Like when you watch like the DVDs or the matches, when I would just to critique, and we would have those like little critique sessions. It's like, dude, you should like calm down. You look like you're really gonna freaking head off, like, but that's the added effect, I kind of was like my character was kind of just like he was kind of like I wouldn't say a carbon copy of like Homicide, but he was a very close. I wanted to be like a blend of like Homicide's like just the way he looks at you, like it's so rough, and Taz's, I'm the human Taz plexing machine. I'm just gonna throw people because I can. And ironically, because of that, I didn't really speak too much, but I did like a lot of my actions spoke for my character. And for that reason, even when I went heel, people liked me.
Okay.
And it's just like, yeah.
See, I didn't know that. When I watched the Grand Canyon thing, I was like, oh shit, he was a bad guy. I never knew.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was definitely heel there, but it's just like, just the mannerisms of it. It was like, you can tell I was heel, and actually, well, because when I was like a super face, I mean, I actually had different colors too. I didn't really do like the white or the lighter colors. I mean, I was just a solid color. I just stuck to the color black. Actually, I take that back. I had blue jeans. John Cena did.
Nice.
I thought the Doctor was talking off. So, but yeah, I really tried to become that character. And when you're in the ring for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 15, 30 minutes, I have to tell you, man, it's draining. I mean, I had a 30-minute Iron Man match with Dredge, and that was ridiculous. But being a heel, it was like even more worse because it's like I couldn't smile.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of it is, it is like I always thought like, each match that I had was like, well, how can I improve it? Because yes, we have a set time limit, but we also have like we have our own arsenal of moves. Like I want to wow the crowd, and my biggest thing was that I was kind of like, if you're gonna punch me in the face, like just give it to me stiff as you can. More like a strong style kind of feel to it, but at the same time, it's like I can out wrestle you at the same time. So it's like, well, and I have to pick and choose. Like, what should I do? Um, it's kind of like it's almost like I feel like Fallout when you want to use the when you want to just play it as like a first-person shooter, or just if you want to just use the bat system. You know, it's like, do I want to stick to just this, or do I want to just do I want to show more I guess counteractions and submissions, or do I just want to just obliterate somebody and just kick them in the face?
Yeah.
So it's like it kind of depended on my opponent. Like if I was wrestling Draven, he was much smaller. I would, and he would play like the smaller, faster character, but wrestler. And he would use his trickeries and cheat to win because he was a heel. But if I wrestled someone like Dredge, who was an amateur wrestler, my best friend, I would kind of go back and forth. It'd be like real 50-50. You would definitely see like a different style of wrestling versus, or you would see a different style of me versus someone who was, just not as, I guess, well versed in amateur wrestling. So, yeah, so we went from taking the bumps, wood planks, to doing Beal bumps, high Beal bumps. I'm forgetting all the terms, technical terms, but once you muster how to take bumps correctly, then that's when we kind of tested to see if you were safe. Because if you can't bump, it's gonna be really hard to throw on. It's to really put on like a really good match. Because if you can't bump, and that means you can't get suplexed, you can't get body slammed. That means you can't even roll around, because if you actually try to watch and break down matches, especially like technical matches, there are certain mannerisms that you will find that are pretty much all within like wrestling. Like which side that they actually get up. Obviously, yeah, the more obvious ones are, they attack the left side. Every time that there's a submission, unless it's an actual like injured body part, it's always gonna be. Even sometimes if it's not the injured body part, they're gonna attack the left side. Why? I don't know. Then usually things are set in like threes. Like quick knockdowns. I mean, if you look at John Cena's shoulder charge, throw clothesline. Oh, third one's a chain. Sit up firebomb. Or Blue Thunder firebomb. I mean, there are certain things. I mean, I'm not a know-it-all about all the mannerisms, but like you can tell, like if you really look, like for me, it's like it's weird too, because like going through that transition of being just a fan to like, how do I make this match like a really good story? How do I actually break it down and then apply it? I watch hundreds of thousands of matches, man. It's like, well, maybe I can do this. I mean, my body type, my character type fits that, so I can kind of add that in. So now it goes from just breaking down matches to trying to increase your arsenal, whether it's taking a move, giving a move, or even just getting the right setup. Like, I'm sure you see it when people, take Twist of Fate. Well, all right, we got to fix ourselves so that Jeff can, So it's just like, how more realistic can you show it rather than showing like getting placed in that position is what I was always kind of stressed, because I like to make sure that it's still real to me. So,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, we gotta, we're the performers, and it's kind of like I put so much stress and pressure on myself to try and make it look as real as possible. Um, that's why I ask for people, hey man, don't even hold back when if you want to hit me, if you want to drop kick me, just kick my teeth in or something.
Mm.
Um, and then and just make sure that if you're really going for like a real knockdown, just dude, I'll bump it. Trust me, I'll bump it. And I'll take the hardest clotheslines, dude. Like I used to take those clotheslines like Rikishi used to take them, man. Like those whirly birds, man. Oh, dude, those were so fun.
Mm.
They were so fun to take because it's just like, wow, you didn't expect someone like, of course the guys, are just as big as me, but I mean, I'll take a full wind up and I'll do the whirly bird just for the added effect, just that added, oh my god,
Yeah.
that's those wows and those, oh my god, that's what I lived for, that's what fueled my adrenaline. And then after matches, it's just like, hey, can we take pictures with you and stuff? I'm like, I mean, that stuff's cool too, but it's just like, oh man, I'm so glad you kicked his butt, blah 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 blah. It's just like you make that connection, and that's another part of like being that character. That's just like I do admit I do miss it, but it's actually what helped me like shape myself to be like I kind of live for those kind of responses, I guess. Whether it's helping somebody out or just just making someone's day go by like like usually at work it's kind of like how it is for me. It's like I get those responses a lot, so it's like there's rarely. I feel like I'm still continuing that trend, though it's not professional wrestling. And then yeah, man. I know I get off on these tangents, but like that's what it makes me feel like. It's just it's like I can recall on like such like emotions, and it's just like it feels like I'm part of the character still. So it's like, wow, and yeah, those were our house shows, basically out in Second and Warner, and then we moved into the Veterans Hall, where we did a lot of most of our taping, which I know we still have footage. It's just not converted over from cassette to um, movie or vid or MP4 or whatever. Um, but I'd say 2007, 2008. 2008 is when I kind of was already kind of like on. I think what happened was I got called in to do like another show, and I kind of wasn't training because when I tweaked my back, I really tweaked my back like in real life. I was helping when I was working for this automotive company. I'm not going to mention their name, but we were loading something really heavy in a customer's car or a truck, and he didn't want us to push it up on his truck because we had a ramp and stuff. He wanted us to lift it in, and basically, I had good positioning and a good grip and good lifting position, and I wasn't ready for. One of my coworkers had dropped his part of the weight, and I basically had to cover it.
Yeah.
So I basically absorbed like 60% of I don't know how heavy, but it was a full on like one of those full on like ATVs, and so it's like I felt like a pop in my back, and I actually went home that day, and I was telling Brian, I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go this week because like, I did something at work, and I told him, give me a couple of days, and then I just iced it. I didn't actually even get to go get seen. I just iced it like a dummy, and then I actually called out of work, and then the next day was training, and I just remember like dude, it was hard for me to stand up, and I was like, dude, this is not good. And so I just popped a bunch of painkillers. God, typical. But I did it just for that one day because I was still going to school and I had a final that day. So it's like, oh, I gotta make it up. I gotta make it up to the school. I took the test, and think I went to go to the training, and I think I took a bump, and that was pretty much it. So I just took one, like just a little warm up bump, hold on the ropes, and as you let go, and you want to slap so you land basically on your shoulder blades. And I'll tell you, man, like my back didn't pop, but I didn't want to get up after that. I was riding in so much pain, and I thought, I thought I was going to be able to go the next day, and just kind of hopefully bank on straight up adrenaline to get me through it. So, to be honest, I don't even remember who my last show opponent was at that show. And I just remember my entrance back then, because I went face, my entrance team was Bombs Over Baghdad, Rage Against the Machine remix, so it's the rock remix. And what I would do is basically pull an Ultimate Warrior and just basically run through the crowd, high five everybody, and just kind of shake my head, like, I was just ready to eat something or just beat someone up. And as I went to go climb the ropes and I pulled up, I was like, oh God, this is not good, And when I got through the matchup, man, let me tell you, I think I know what it was. It was a fatal 4-way match with the ending had to be changed because my back gave up like right in the beginning of the match, and it was the finale, or the when we were supposed to take it home was it was me, Crazy Captain Steve. Ironically, there's a Crazy Captain Steve that's in me. It was Joey Scales and Dredge, and I believe what was supposed to happen was I was in the middle of the ring, and the three guys were fighting. Dredge was in a... Oh, no, this is what happened. We both got into like a chicken fight situation where I had Crazy Captain Steve on like an electric chair. And Joey Scales was on Dredge's shoulders like an electric chair. So we wanted to do something different. We did a 4-person tie-up. So Joey Scales and Crazy Captain Steve were tied up, and myself and Dredge tied up. And what we were going to do was basically we were going to run the ropes with people on top of us.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So we did a 2-person Irish whip. But back then, that's my back already kind of like felt like it was like going. And thank God I wasn't the one that was running. So we did a 2-person Irish whip. So Steve-O Irish with Joey Scales and Irish with Dredge. Joey Scales was on Dredge's shoulders, and they bounced off the ropes, and we both took clotheslines. So I was just like, oh God. I mean, I was already having a hard time getting up from that. And I think Joey Scales was supposed to set up to go and give Joe or Dredge a Hurricane Rana counter. And we forgot how unathletic Joey Scales can be. And at the time, that unathletic switch kicked in. So when Dredge went to go and turn him for the Hurricane Rana, Joey Scales basically just took a powerbomb.
Oh, jeez.
So I was just like, And then I rolled over to go see what happened because Joey Scales was supposed to Hurricane Rana Dredge, and Dredge was supposed to land kind of like next to me, and Joey Scales was then supposed to go run and do like a senton, like just run and just do a senton. And then Steve-O was supposed to get up and give me a leg drop, and then give Dredge, who was writhing in pain, a leg drop. And then they were supposed to kind of throw themselves out the ring. Well, that didn't happen because Joey Scales powerbombed himself. And then I just remember getting back up, and me and Steve-O were going just punching each other, just kind of trying to set up, trying to cover up the botch. And like, well, we can't cover it up when there's only 2 of us. So I think we backed into a corner, and what happened was I got back into the I got back into the corner, and Dredge and Steve-O, I myself was getting a beat down from Dredge and Steve, I think. And then I just remember Steve-O did. He pushed Dredge out of the way. Joey Scales is now just getting up. And then I tell Steve-O to give me the basically slice bread number 2. And I take it, so I'm in the middle of the ring, facing up. And I think Joey Scales he's just completely clueless. Like, he didn't remember the finish. And I think he went to go pick me up. And Steve-O, after he does the slice bread number 2, he goes back up to the top rope to give me basically a swanton bomb. And the original finish was I was supposed to move out the way, and Steve was just supposed to just miss the swanton bomb, and then I was supposed to take Dredge out with a clothesline, and then give Joey Scales my finisher. That's the 1, 2, 3. So Steve-O gets back in the corner. He's on top rope, and he comes down. Dredge comes back in, and we're all in the corner trying to, hey, let's bring it home, let's finish it. And all I remember was somehow I got finagled into taking I think it was a double underhook DDT. So I was face down, out of the corner, and Joey Scales somehow got on the top rope. So he was sitting on the top rope, and then Dredge was he was on the opposite side of the ring, or not the ring, but the turnbuckle, and Steve-O, what happened? Steve-O brought Joey Scales down, and I think Dredge just gave him a clothesline, and we just said screw it. Steve-O went up to go for the swanton bomb, and Joey Scales rolled into the direction I was supposed to move out of. So by the time I was actually about to move, like, there was something like in front of me, so I couldn't move.
Yeah.
So I ate like a freaking swanton bomb, like, on my back. Like, I was like, oh yeah, well, my adrenaline ran out like, I don't know, 15 minutes ago. So this is straight pain.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I no sold that because I was like, dude, I can't do this. Like, it's like I've already taken too much right now. And it didn't stop there because Joey Scales, for some reason, took a chair and started beating me with it.
Oh, jeez.
Like, he's like, what? Dude, I'm out of the ring. What's going on? And I believe Joey Scales he gets kicked, and he drops the chair, and he's done. He's done for the match. And then I believe Steve-O, I forget how he finished it, but Steve-O got the belt that day. And ever since then, I had for the few months after that, I was having kind of like back spasms. And that's when I was kind of like, well, I can help train or I can help do transportation, but right now I can't wrestle. So that was like a little before 2008 or so, maybe. Yeah, a little before 2008 is when I already kind of started to kind of drop off as far as I'm trying to rehab and trying to get like actual, professional help rather than trying to rely on painkillers and stuff. And I actually, I believe I did 2 more shows. Then I had to take like a month or 2 hiatus to just rehab my back and just get healthy again. So after, I want to say it was like June of 2008, and my buddy was like, hey, Mike Omega has some friends up that want us to take the show. They'll pay us and stuff. And I was like, all right, so who's us? Like, does Cage know about this? Whatever. Yeah, Cage says it's fine. I mean, if you guys can pay for getting the ring up to Weed, California. I was like, dude, you know how far Weed, California is from Chico? I was like, no clue. I was like, I think it was like a 4-hour drive or 5, maybe 6-hour drive. I'm like, my truck is a 2-wheel drive, full-size Dodge pickup. It's 2-wheel drive. My truck will not be able to tow that ring up mountains, bro. I'm just telling you right now. So we got our this other guy, Johnny Demon, I think that's what the name he went by. Nice guy. He's kind of. I felt like he was kind of like a know-it-all.
Mm.
I tend not to do so well with people who have that kind of overconfidence, I guess. And I was like, yeah, no worries, man. I can tow it. I can tow it. And you guys just pay for the insurance, and we'll tow it. So we took it up there, and I think this was, theoretically my second to last match, I believe, or it could have been my last match. But we did this show, and the match that I had was like a 5-minute, maybe like a 6-minute squash match, really. But I kind of reinvented the Rikishi driver there. Instead of doing a Rikishi driver, I did like a freaking Zangief spinning like pile driver.
Nice.
And then I kind of like felt like my back kind of pulled something again. So like that's when I was like, dude, I really don't know if I can do this anymore because like my back is like it's killing me. It's 2008. I'm 23.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I was in more shape like Cage was, because let me tell you, throughout the years, Cage was he was never the size that he is now. To be honest, I mean, I knew the guy in junior high. He was probably like a solid like 145. Solid, and then high school maybe like $160, but after high school, he started blowing up in the 185 range, 195 range. I think by the time we actually got done, and I stopped wrestling, and he got so close to, again to that contract. I think he was like a good I want to say he was like a good 215, pretty solid. So right around that time, I was already going back and forth with Cage, as far as, hey, like what do you need help with? Let me help you with, some things if you need it. And right around that time, he was already working with Mr. Chris Canyon. Canyon actually took him under his wing. I think first in Florida, and then Atlanta. But they were both like OVW, which is the current NXT. So Cage actually was contracted to FCW, which was NXT, or which is NXT now. So he's wrestled all the big names that are there. He's wrestled Sheamus. I'm sure he's wrestled Roman Reigns. He's wrestled. I don't think Rollins was there when he got there. Who else he wrestled? Trent Beretta, Michael McGillicuddy. I can't get past that guy. I just can't. Ryback, basically anyone that was Nexus and maybe a little before Nexus.
He's later, baby.
And then it was crazy to know that Cage could have been one of those guys, but it's like, you know what? God works his reasons. Works out. He does things his own way, and I mean, I think after that, I think God was telling me that it's not a good fit for me. I mean, I tried to rehab as much as I could. I mean, I was dropping weight and I was getting leaner, but it's just like it's a nagging injury. I mean, I don't get it nowhere near as much now, but on cold days I'll feel it. Actually, some of those times when I was doing Taekwondo, I was feeling it too. But you know what? I get that adrenaline rush, and I hit something, and it just goes away for like 5 seconds. But I mean, I would say, my total time training, starting in training, official, unofficial, I'd say a solid 2.5 years of actual experience, going through the process, working out. The only thing I wish I would have done better was probably market myself, because I know Dredge went out to go do some solo wrestling. He wrestled for APW, which is actually where Bailey used to wrestle. So he did a couple shows out there, all pro. I think it's all professional wrestling, up and down. He did Gold Rush wrestling in San Francisco, Pacifica, and I mean, think, because like at the time that I was already like rehabbing, he had already gotten like out of Chico area experience, because the only other, I guess, competition that we had was a company called Professional Championship Wrestling, PCW, and they were known historically to be scumbags. Like their head trainer guy, I'm not bashing on him, but he tried to take credit for developing Brian Cage. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Talk to day one guy over here, you know. But yeah, I mean, I believe Cage. Don't quote me on this, but quote me on it, I guess. But I mean, Cage was telling me like that was basically the funk that he had with that company, was that they're trying to take credit for, you know, building Brian Cage. I'm like, no, that's wrong, dude. Like, we know Brian Cage built himself, so. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, many summer days, hot summer days. I think I even called it. I think I called in to work just to go training too, just because I could. Yeah, a lot of summer days, a lot of fan chants, a lot of good memories, man. Solid like 2.5 years, like of consistent, like on week in, week out, like shows, block parties. Actually, I got invited to a lot of things because of that. A lot of like college parties and stuff. I don't do that stuff, dude. Like, yeah, no, it was definitely a good time. I mean, I think I actually held the championship the longest until Steve-O beat me, and he is the unofficial longest belt holding champ right now, because he hasn't defended in like 10 years. Well, more like, let's see, 32. So not 10 years. More like 8 years. 7 years. But yeah, it was a good time. I mean, like, highlight of my wrestling career. Definitely getting to meet and greet and talk wrestling with the Chris Kanyon. Having a ladder match, getting over my fear of heights by getting tossed off a 10-foot ladder, completely vertical. Dude. Learning how to bump that. Have actually 2 ladder matches, and I'm 0-2 in those ladder matches, which sucks. You know, one of them costed me, I think, like 6 stitches in my mouth, because I took a ladder incorrectly. It was more like I got hit with the ladder incorrectly, instead of kind of going for like body shots or something. It was more of one of those, we swing upwards and you catch the corner of the ladder. That was great. I got suplexed on the street one time. I got suplexed on a car one time. Let's see what else. I've been body splashed off of a trampoline one time. That was great. I witnessed two of my really good friends finish a wrestling match by getting thrown off of a house roof. That was pretty cool. I'm calling Crazy Captain Steve for no reason.
I guess.
You know, just all those experiences with just trying new stuff out and meeting new people. It's definitely fun. I mean, I even won. You know, to be honest, it was crazy, because like when I was working in Sacramento, I had a customer. One of my customers was like, "Hey man, I know you from somewhere." I'm like, "I don't live in Sacramento." He's like, No, from Chico. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah. I spent some time in Chico." He was like, "Oh, you used to wrestle, huh?" I was like, "Okay, so, okay, where do you know me from that?" He's like, "Oh man, you don't see the shirt?" And he had like a faded like MWF shirt. I'm like, "Dude, that's me, man." He's like, "Oh, dude, that's awesome." And that was like years after. Like that was like 5 or 6 years after. Like, dude, that's so cool. Well, it was more like 4 or 5, but still, it's like, dude, that's awesome. You know. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely probably like my best highlight is just, you know, just wrestling for people in general. I mean, whether it's 4 people, where there's people who don't speak English. But yeah, it was good. I mean, I had my first ladder. My first ladder match was a triple threat match, where I just got dumped off a ladder. That was kind of like taking it home. I don't even remember what they did to finish, but I just know that after I got thrown off of a 10-foot ladder, completely vertical, and learning how to bump that correctly or die, it was just like, that's cool. Getting broken through a table was fun. Taking chair shots was fun. I actually had another guy, Greg Kilburn. He was another guy that wanted to kind of wrestle like myself, where it's just like really strong style, where it's just hit me as hard as you can. And I just remember, knocking him dizzy. His eyes they were spinning, and it was fun. I told him, you can kick me as hard as you want, and I was like, just don't hold back. And man, let me tell you, it's definitely getting hit is great. But when it's your turn to deal it back, oh, it's even better. It's the best. Like, I don't know how many chops I had with that guy, but it was enough that, my hand was numb by the end of the night, and his shirt was starting to get to that point where that first layer of skin was starting to be like bright pink and like hot and broke skin. That was good. Snap suplexes were fun. German suplexes were fun. Those two are like my favorite moves, and I give credit that to most people don't ever talk about this guy, but Chris Benoit is one of my favorite guys to ever pull that move. That. But yeah, it was definitely like a solid journey. The actual journey part of it, 2006 to about mid to maybe late 2008. So that's about 2.5 years. So a lot of the backyard stuff, it's definitely great for show, but we didn't start really polishing stuff up until we got to the Veterans Hall, where it was definitely like bring your A game, because when we critique it, we expect better. We're getting better. We're starting to expand. Trying to get the whole financial part of it going. But I just think if I was to critique our Fed as a whole, I think we moved too fast, and we were too narrow-minded. We weren't open to a lot of ideas. I just think that I know Cage is a dream and stuff. And I love him for it because it shows me a whole nother level of like devotion to, if you really believe you can achieve, he's gone and believed, and he's still achieving. It's kind of like to be able to see that is like, man, I need to get back to that level of as a person. I can believe I can achieve. Keeps me thinking all the time, man. I got a different crowd cheering me on this time, and I would like for them to rely on me a little bit more. So, but yeah, it's definitely a good journey, man. Like, I know I kind of bounce back and forth, but man, that's definitely a good topic, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely good. Man, I have to chalk that one up. That's like, I should write like a diary or something for that, dude.
That's cool. I know we've talked about it in the past a little bit here and there, but just hearing the whole story and stuff like that, and yeah, it must have been the Grand Canyon Encounter, one of those videos you sent us. Like, I watched the whole thing through, and I was just like, oh, this is, it's, a lower level, but it's still like, wow, look at, I always imagine, oh yeah, that'd be cool to do that, but then seeing it, it's just like, damn, these guys are going for it,
Yeah,
And,
it's good. A lot of planning and stuff, but a lot of hard work and definitely a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I think we could have, instead of the route that it went, I think it could have been preserved. I would say would be a better word for it, rather than just kind of ran to the ground. We had a somewhat of like a falling out with certain people who their egos just kind of, oh, but I'm so and so, and I can't make practices all the time. Well, that sucks. That's not our fault. Like,
Right.
you were there when we talked about it, right? And you were one of the guys pushing for. If you're not going to show for training, then you know what's up, and it's just the whole ego thing.
Yeah. So how many of those guys are you still in contact with? Like, I know you talk with Cage once in a while, but like.
Yeah. I would say I'm pretty much in touch with. I have everyone on Facebook. I think I actually don't live that far from Dredge, my best friend. We just haven't had time to kind of hook up. Like, ironically, when I lived in New York, he lived in Maine. So I was just like, oh, what are these times right?
You guys keep moving together.
And then when I found out that Natalie was like, oh yeah, the job's gonna be like in Hillsborough, and I saw like, I don't know, I must have saw Dredge's Facebook location change. I was like, Beaverton, where's that? And I looked at him like, dude, that's like 10 minutes from me. Holy crap! Like, that's like total coincidence, you know? It's like, not stalking you or anything.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, I know we're all busy and stuff, and we're both parents, so it's like, when you can, and I understand that struggle. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's bound to happen. I mean, I got a few friends out here that are like pretty, not really like wrestling related, but like pretty good amount of friends, like inner circle friends. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that topic is, it's cool.
Can't wait to see everybody's reaction to it.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.